Today on the newscast, the Russia-Iran alliance grows as Iranian drones blanket the battlefields of Ukraine. Plus, Biden and the Saudis butting heads once again. Get all the breaking details next. Hey folks, Erick Stakelbeck here. Welcome to the Watchman Newscast. We've been telling you here for months now about that growing alliance between Russia and Iran. Now, both of these nations are charter members of what I call the Gathering Storm Alliance. That includes Russia, Iran, China, and North Korea. But Russia and Iran in particular have really increased their cooperation in a variety of areas in recent weeks. Of course, in July, Vladimir Putin visited Tehran, met with Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei and the President Ibrahim Raisi. And folks, that was only the tip of the iceberg. Iran sees itself, as we've described here in the newscast, as a drone superpower, not only in the region, but globally. And Russia is utilizing that Iranian drone know-how to great effect on the battlefields of Ukraine right now. Here is the latest. You've probably heard by now, and we reported here in the newscast yesterday, about this Russian bombardment in recent days of Ukraine. At least 86 ballistic missiles fired by Russian forces at Ukrainian civilian infrastructure and civilian areas. Well, drones have also been part of this onslaught. Now, Iran has reportedly supplied hundreds, at least, of their drones to Russia, their attack drones. The Ukrainians are saying, look, some 2,400 Iranian drones have been ordered by Russia, and they are being deployed throughout Ukraine on the battlefields. It is the Shahed 136 drone, to be precise. Russian forces have trained in Iran on how to use these Iranian drones. Now, they have met with mixed success, reportedly, on the battlefield. These Iranian drones, in some cases, have not performed very well, but in other cases, they have done their job. And that job is essentially to be loaded with explosives and flown into a target in Ukraine. Now, they've been called kamikaze drones, suicide drones. The bottom line is the main purpose for them is to be, again, packed with explosives that can do a whole lot of damage and kill a whole lot of people. Iran has obviously used that to great effect throughout the Middle East, supplying its proxies like Hamas, Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad, the Houthis in Yemen, and those various Shia militias in Syria and Iraq with drones and drone technology. These terrorist entities that surround Israel literally on every side are now armed to the teeth with these Iranian-made attack drones, and Russia has now gotten in on the act. The big question today we want to dig into here in the newscast is, will that cooperation deepen even more? I'm talking about Iranian ballistic missiles as Russia looks to replenish its arsenals right now in its war on Ukraine. Before we get into it, I just want to encourage you to subscribe to the Watchman News channel right here on YouTube and click the notification bell so you get alerts every time a new video is posted. Hey, we are posting every day here, Monday through Friday, and now many times on Saturdays, sometimes Sundays, depending on the news cycle. You don't want to miss a video, so be sure to click the notification bell and give us a subscribe. We would really, really appreciate it for such a time as this and these perilous Bible times that we are living right now, prophetic times, speaking of which, that Russia-Iran relationship, the prophetic implications there, more on that in a minute. But is this going towards a situation where Iran will soon supply Russia with ballistic missiles as well? Now, this question was posed by The Drive. I believe it's thedrive.org or thedrive.com. It's a very interesting website, and they laid it out in pretty extensive detail, the possibility, not a guarantee, folks, but a possibility that perhaps going forward, Iran even supplies Russia not only with drones, but with some of Iran's vast ballistic missile stockpile. Remember, Russia has been looking to replenish its arsenal to the point that recently it reached out to North Korea for help in replenishing its ammunition stockpiles. So it is not beyond the realm of possibility, as The Drive pointed out in that very detailed article, that Iran could indeed supply Russia with long-range, short-range, medium-range ballistic missiles. Remember, Iran has the largest ballistic missile stockpile in the entire Middle East, and it's also shared not only the drone, but the ballistic missile know-how with the likes of Hezbollah, with the Houthis, as we know all too well. And I'm thinking in particular of those precision-guided missiles, PGMs for short, that Iran has been trying so desperately to supply its most lethal proxy, Hezbollah, with, which can then be used against Israel. Red line for Israel, of course. Before I would say, look, Iran needs Russia. Now Russia needs Iran as well, clearly, not only for weaponry purposes, but both are essentially pariahs on the world stage under heavy sanctions, and they're propping each other up. They're helping each other to the point where a top Iranian official said back in July that Russia is Iran's top, #1 strategic partner in the world. That bodes well not only for that doesn't bode well not only for Ukraine and the United States and the West, but of course for Israel. I'm thinking, of course, the book of Ezekiel, chapters 38 and 39, what's laid out, that future Gog-Magog war. Funny name, I know, but very important, where a latter days confederation of nations led by Russia and including Iran will come against Israel. Now, the good news is this confederation perishes on the mountains of Israel. They do not get very far as the God of Israel, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, directly intervenes in the affairs of men, really in a way that he hasn't in 2,000 years for the entire world to see. That day is coming, but in the meantime, look for Russia and Iran to continue to come closer together at Israel's doorstep in Syria, obviously. And if you're Israel, we talked yesterday about the continuing unraveling of ties between Russia and Israel. I look for that to continue as well. If you're Israel, you have to look at Vladimir Putin and say, you know what? You are aligned with our greatest enemies. Iran, Hezbollah, the Assad regime. We've had Hamas leaders visit Moscow in recent months as well. So Israel knows that this does not bode well for the future, but in the meantime, they're trying to keep the relationship together in any way they can. But I don't know if it's going to be possible in the long run, certainly not prophetically, if the book of Ezekiel is any indication. Before we go today, I want to mention, in the lead-in, I said they're butting heads, they're loggerheads, Biden and the Saudis, and there's a Russia link here as well, according to the Biden administration. We talked about it here in the newscast last week, that OPEC Plus, that alliance of nations led by Saudi Arabia, petroleum producers, they are cutting oil production by 2 million barrels a day, folks. That is coming. So much for Biden's trip to Saudi Arabia, the charm offensive back in July. That went nowhere. The Saudis said, thank you very much, we're cutting 2 million barrels a day, over Biden's strenuous objections, of course. Now Biden is not happy about this. His administration is saying they are going to reevaluate the relationship with Saudi Arabia. Biden is warning of consequences. They say that the oil cuts benefit Russia because it will drive prices up, and Russia will use some of that money to fund the war effort in Ukraine. And now the Saudi-U.S. relationship is essentially a mess, folks. And the Biden administration needs to look in the mirror here, because even when he was campaigning, he was promising to make Saudi Arabia, quote, a pariah state. More to come on that in the days to come, no doubt. A lot going on in the world's most perilous and chaotic region, the Middle East, and it affects you, folks, no matter where you live. Here's the good news. God is in control. Put your trust in Him. Put your trust in His Son, the Lord Jesus, and you will be able to navigate these very difficult but exciting times as He is at the doorstep. Thanks so much for joining us here today on the Watchman Newscast. Until tomorrow, God bless you. And remember, never hold your peace. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Watchman Newscast. If you enjoyed this episode and want to see more, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, click subscribe, and tap the bell icon to turn on notifications for new Watchman Newscast episodes every weekday.